My father, who works in a top-secret unit, called me to go back to my hometown for a blind date. The other party has excellent conditions in all aspects. Not only is he outstanding in appearance, but he is also a well-known entrepreneur in the area. Before departure, my superior specifically instructed the airline to keep my identity confidential. I boarded the plane at the agreed time, found my seat, and was about to sit down when suddenly someone pushed me hard from behind. Before I could react, the person arrogantly took out a stack of bills. "I want this seat. Take the money and get lost." I suppressed my anger and retorted, "This is clearly the seat I reserved in advance. On what grounds are you driving me away?" Faced with my questioning, the other party was full of disdain. "On what grounds?" "Because I am Victor's private secretary. In Jinghai, even a bird flying in the sky belongs to Victor, you know." I was stunned for a few seconds, then took out my phone and called my fiancé. "I heard from your company that your family can cover the sky with one hand in Jinghai. Is that true? If it weren't for my father's sake, I wouldn't even bother to make this call. Taking my exclusive seat isn't something that can be solved with just money." If the other party had a good attitude in admitting their mistake, I could turn a blind eye. "I'm very busy. If you have something to say it quickly." On the phone, the blind date's tone was very impatient. "Mr. Victor, I think you should ask your private secretary what she wants to do." I was about to hand over the phone when the call was directly hung up. I was stunned on the spot. Are all rich people this temperamental? Seeing this scene, the woman who took my seat almost laughed her face off. "Oh my, I thought you were something special, but Victor doesn't even bother to take your call." Seeing that I was only in my early 20s and dressed plainly, she didn't take me seriously at all. "Miss, are you being reasonable? It was clearly you who took my seat. I haven't even caused you trouble yet, and now you're mocking me?" As I said this, I pointed to the flight attendant not far away. "There are police on the plane too. If you continue to make trouble, believe it or not, I'll call the police right now." Upon hearing that I wanted to call the police, she became even more arrogant. "Little bitch, I advise you to save it. Even this airline is owned by the Wang family. Do you think anyone will help you?" She got more and more excited as she spoke, spitting directly on my face. I clenched my fists and subconsciously took a step back. "You keep mentioning the Wang family. So, I want to ask, what exactly is your relationship with the Wang family?" As soon as I finished speaking, she pushed me hard. "What my relationship with the Wang family is none of your business. Get out of here. If you don't leave, believe it or not, I won't let you get off the plane." Over the years, I have been staying in the unit with very little contact with the outside world, and I have no idea how to communicate with such a shrew. Seeing her attitude so arrogant, my anger level also rose sharply. "You took my seat, and now you're threatening me. Do you think you're the emperor?" As soon as the words fell, the passengers on the plane exclaimed, "Damn, this little girl is too bold, daring to Tiffany, the secretary. She's simply courting death. It's just a seat. Giving it up won't cost you anything. If you really offend the other party, you'll be the one to suffer." Sigh. It's also her bad luck to encounter Tiffany, who is a big shot beside Victor. As the surrounding discussions grew louder, Tiffany's expression became more and more smug. "You little bitch, you dare to scold me, I think you don't want to live anymore." Faced with her threat, I didn't care at all, and even felt like laughing. "Secretary Tiffany, right? I advise you to clean your mouth. If you really provoke me, even your master won't be able to bear the consequences. I'll let your mom go." Aftering me a few times, she seemed unsatisfied and rolled up her sleeves to charge at me again. "What? Secretary Tiffany wants to get physical at the slightest disagreement?" She swung several slaps at me but didn't even touch the corner of my clothes, instantly becoming furious. "Little bitch, try dodging again? Believe it or not, I'll call Victor right now." Faced with the secretary's repeated provocations, I didn't fight back but kept tolerating. It's not because I was afraid of her, but before leaving the unit, my superior repeatedly instructed me, "Your every word and action represents the image of the unit. When you're out, never get into conflicts with others. Moreover, I don't know how to fight. Either I don't make a move, or if I do, it's a fatal blow." Seeing that I didn't speak, Secretary Tiffany thought I was scared and raised her hand to charge at me again. At the critical moment, a roar came from behind. "Stop. Tiffany, you are my private secretary after all. How can you casually get into a fight with someone in public?" A burly young man, surrounded by a group of bodyguards, quickly walked up to me. "You are Victor?" I carefully sized up the man in front of me. I have to say, my father's taste is not bad. Dressed in a tailored suit, with sharp facial features. If I had to find a flaw, it would be that his gaze towards me was too cold. "Mr. Victor, nice to meet you. Allow me to briefly introduce myself. My name is Claire, from—" "No need." Before I could finish, Victor impatiently interrupted with a wave of his hand. "We've met, and I don't think we're suitable for each other. You can get off the plane." At that moment, I almost thought there was something wrong with my ears. I had gone through layers of approval from my superiors to finally get half a day off. We had just met, and before I could even finish introducing myself, he told me to leave? Isn't this clearly treating me like a fool? Thinking of this, my temper flared up immediately. "You must be Victor, the blind date my father arranged for me, right? You didn't even let me finish speaking before telling me to go back. Isn't that a bit impolite?" After hearing my words, Victor sneered on the spot. "Politeness? Why don't you take a piss and look in the mirror? Do you think you're worthy of me?" As he said this, he glanced me up and down with his peripheral vision. "I don't know what my father was thinking, wanting me to marry a vase like you." As soon as these words were spoken, the scene boiled over again. What? This girl is actually Victor's fiancé? This is simply unbelievable. A country bumpkin like her, who has never seen the world, still dreams of marrying into a wealthy family. She doesn't even take a piss to see if she's worthy. Victor is the recognized male god in the hearts of all women in Jinghai. I, Amy, am the first to stand up and oppose this marriage. As the surrounding discussions grew louder, I was a bit confused. When did I say I wanted to marry him? Even if I did, it would still require approval from my superiors. Fine, I'm a vase, and you're the young master, all right? Since Victor doesn't fancy me, I'll just go back, but... As I said this, I suddenly changed the topic. This first-class seat was reserved in advance by my superior through the airline. It's not something anyone can sit in just because they want to. As soon as I finished speaking, Tiffany immediately stepped forward. "Little bitch, you're still pretending in front of Victor, huh? The entire plane is owned by the Wong family. On what grounds are you not allowing it?" Seeing this scene, I finally understood the true meaning of the term licking dog. "Secretary Tiffany, I just want to sit in my own seat. As for who owns the plane, what does that have to do with me?" As soon as the words fell, Victor immediately became unhappy and took out his phone on the spot. "It's just a first-class ticket. I'll pay 10 times the price. I'll give you 100,000. Disappear quickly, and don't let me see you again." I curled my lips and smiled slightly at him. Since Victor is so sincere, I'll have to reluctantly accept it. Just as I turned around, Secretary Tiffany suddenly shouted at me. "Little bitch, stop right there." I paused my steps and slowly turned back. What? Has Secretary Tiffany changed her mind? Tiffany gave me a sinister smile and whispered something in Victor's ear. The next second, the man known as the youngest richest man in Jinghai was furious on the spot. "Claire, you dare to lay hands on my people?" From Tiffany's expression, I guessed that she must have said a lot of bad things about me in front of Victor. I have to say, her move of borrowing a knife to kill someone was impeccable. Based on Victor's first impression of me just now, I knew that no matter how much I explained, it would be useless, so I simply didn't bother to waste my breath. Whether I laid hands or not is no longer important. just tell me what you want to do about it. Victor seemed surprised that I was so confident, his eyes showing some astonishment. What else can be done? Of course, an apology. I raised my eyebrows slightly, with a faint smile on my lips. An apology is definitely impossible. How about you suggest another solution? 1 million. As soon as the words fell, Tiffany stepped forward with a gloating look. As Victor's private secretary, I handle tens of millions in business every minute. Just because you pushed me earlier, I now feel very uncomfortable. You must take responsibility. After hearing Tiffany's words, the surrounding onlookers all gasped. Even Victor himself was somewhat surprised. Secretary Tiffany, isn't 1 million a bit too much? Even if you go to the hospital for a full body checkup, it wouldn't cost that much, right? Tiffany immediately waved her hand. No, Victor, you're thinking too narrowly. As your private secretary, being hit on our own plane, it's not just my face that's lost. I'm only asking for 1 million, which is already showing pity for her. Victor thought for a moment, felt there was some truth to it, and nodded slightly. Fine. 1 million it is, I'll pay. I didn't give them time to think and agreed on the spot. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's gaze on the plane focused on me. Some thought I was putting on a brave face, some thought I was pretending to be weak to catch someone off guard, and the rest were gloating. But these comments weren't that important to me. What was important was that someone actually wanted to take my seat. Although the other party paid more than 10 times the price, their attitude made me very uncomfortable. Since the pushing incident is resolved, shouldn't we talk about the seat now? As I said this, I suddenly changed the topic, and the corners of my mouth unconsciously curled up slightly. My itinerary was reported to the airline. Do you think anyone can sit just because they want to? As soon as the words fell, a burst of mocking laughter erupted around. Is this girl out of her mind? It's just sitting in first class, who does she need to report to? Exactly, the entire airline belongs to the Wang family, who else would she report to? I coldly scanned the surroundings and slowly spoke. Everyone, don't you all think the Wang family is rich and powerful, able to buy the entire airline? Then I want to know, can Victor make the plane stop? As I said this, I grinned and smiled slightly. She can't, but I can. Stop bullshitting here. Do you know how many procedures it takes to stop a plane? Looking across the country, probably only the leaders in the capital have that ability. What are you? Tiffany became more and more agitated as she spoke, her face turning red. Little bitch, you're saying so much, aren't you trying to renege on the debt? Don't blame me for not warning you, if you can't come up with this 1 million, don't think about getting off the plane alive. In less than an hour, someone actually threatened me twice in a row. This is something I never dared to dream of since I joined the unit. I stopped wasting words and took out my phone in front of everyone. Hello, leader, this is Claire. The person on the other end chuckled and said, Claire, why are you calling me at this time? Have you met the person? Are you satisfied? I gave Victor a meaningful look, sneered, and then spoke. Leader, the blind date is a long story. I have an urgent situation to report to you now. Someone wants to buy my seat with money. What did you say? On the other end of the phone, the leader's surprised tone almost overflowed from the screen. That's an exclusive seat not for sale to the public. Are you sure you're not joking with me? I continued unhurriedly. Leader, how dare I joke with you about such a thing? The person who wanted to buy my seat also said I pushed him and demanded I pay 1 million in compensation. If I don't pay, they won't let me get off the plane. I briefly explained the situation, and the leader was so angry that he smashed a cup on the spot. Who is the other party? I was about to speak when Tiffany snatched the phone away. Hey, you're the reinforcement this little bitch brought, right? Before the plane lands, I want to see 1 million, otherwise, you can wait to collect her body. The leader probably didn't expect that after living for most of his life, someone would dare to speak to him like this, and he was stunned for a few seconds. So, you're the one who took Claire's seat and then turned around to make her pay? At this moment, Tiffany still didn't know who she had offended and still had a nonchalant attitude. Cut the crap, just tell me if you're paying or not. Even through the screen, I could feel the anger from the leader. Pay. Isn't 1 million a bit too little? How about I pay you 100 million instead? You wait for me, I'll have someone send the money over right now. Tiffany also didn't expect the leader to have such a bad temper and immediately retorted. Old fart, what are you bragging about here, paying 100 million? If you dare to pay, I dare to take it. If you have the guts, bring cash. After hanging up the phone, Tiffany looked at her boss with a smug face, as if seeking credit. Seeing this situation, I couldn't help but laugh out loud on the spot. Mr. Victor, you really hired a good secretary. He even dared to scold my boss. Even if I look across the country, I have never seen anyone as brave as him. Regarding my reminder, Tiffany snorted indifferently. Humph, I don't care about your leader or whatever. The plane is about to take off, get off quickly. I didn't get angry but laughed instead. Take off? Without my nod, this plane won't even move today, believe it or not. As soon as the words fell, someone in the crowd shouted, "Look outside." Everyone turned to look out the window. More than a dozen armored cash transport vehicles were driving grandly towards the airport. Dear passengers, I am the captain of this flight. Due to an emergency, the flight is temporarily delayed. The surrounding passengers had never seen such an astonishing scene and were all stunned. What's going on? Is there someone who hasn't boarded yet? That shouldn't be. The plane is already on the runway, how can it turn back? The airport broadcast repeated several times, and it didn't seem like a mistake. Everyone returned to the waiting hall with puzzled faces. As soon as I appeared, more than a dozen ground crew members lined up in an orderly fashion and walked towards me in unison. At this moment, everyone, including Tiffany and Victor, looked at me in unison. With a faint smile on my lips, I walked towards them unhurriedly. Excuse me, are you Miss Claire? The leading captain asked cautiously, afraid of saying something wrong. I nodded slightly at him. Yes, I am Claire. Thank you for your hard work. The next second, all the ground crew members bowed collectively and greeted me. Miss Claire, please don't say that. It's an honor for all of us ground crew to serve you. The superior specifically instructed us to thank you for choosing our flight. I reached out and patted the captain's shoulder lightly. My God, what's going on here? Am I seeing things? Did you all see that? The entire ground crew is mobilized. This is the first time I've seen this. Yeah, this is too exaggerated. Could this girl be some mysterious big shot? The passengers who had mocked me on the plane earlier were now staring at me dumbfounded. I casually waved my hand and curled my lips. You came just in time. Among these passengers, someone has threatened my life safety. Please clear them out. As I said this, I raised my hand and pointed to Tiffany, who was pale-faced in front. There, it was her who threatened me earlier. The captain turned his head to look at the crowd and immediately took out his walkie-talkie. All police personnel, attention, come to the waiting hall, there are unlawful elements here. Before Tiffany could react to what was happening, she was lifted up by someone. What do you want to do? I am Victor's private secretary, put me down quickly. Victor, you must know him, right? He's the largest shareholder of your civil aviation. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Secretary Tiffany, I told you long ago that offending me would not end well. Now you know you were wrong, right? Not to mention you're Victor's secretary, even if you were Victor himself, you would have to bow your head and admit your mistake to me obediently. While speaking, the captain had already brought the person in front of me. Miss Claire, is there anyone else besides her? Seeing his secretary being humiliated, Victor felt that his face was somewhat lost and stepped forward with a stiff upper lip. Captain Zhao, I am the current chairman of the Wang Group. Can you give me some face and release my person first? The captain sighed lightly, showing a troubled expression. Victor. I'm really sorry, but we only take orders from Miss Claire now. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire waiting hall was in an uproar. What? Is there something wrong with my ears? Even the richest man in Jinghai isn't qualified to demand release? Just with one phone call, the plane turned back, and the captain personally welcomed her. There are probably not many people in the country with such power, right? This is completely over. Secretary Tiffany has really kicked an iron plate today. As the surrounding discussions grew louder, Tiffany's face became paler. With a faint smile on my face, I slowly stepped forward. Secretary Tiffany, the 100 million in cash you wanted is now in place, the cash transport vehicles are outside. Next, shouldn't we talk about my compensation? Tiffany stared at me fiercely. Little brat, I warn you, this is Jinghai, don't push your luck. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. From Secretary Tiffany's tone, is she threatening me? Seeing this scene, as Tiffany's direct superior, Victor couldn't help but speak up. Claire, it's just a small matter, you don't need to be so serious, do you? Secretary Tiffany is, after all, half a member of my Jiang family. Give me some face, and let's just let this matter go, okay? I couldn't help but laugh out loud on the spot. Face? Mr. Victor doesn't think his face is that big, does he? Victor's face immediately darkened. Claire, I advise you not to go too far. Don't forget, this is Jinghai. You two are indeed from the same company, even your tone of speech is exactly the same. I sneered and took out my phone from my pocket. Mr. Victor, your people dare to be so unscrupulous on the plane just because they think they have the backing of the Wang family, right? Today, I'm going to make a high-profile move to cure you so-called upper-class people of your bad habits. After saying that, in front of everyone present, I dialed Victor's father's phone. It rang only once, and the other party immediately picked up. Oh, it's Miss Claire? Shouldn't you be on a date with my son right now? How do you have time to call me? I gave Victor a meaningful look and spoke unhurriedly. Jeff, I really want to ask you a question right now. Does your Wang family think that life has been too comfortable these years? Before the other party could react to what was going on, I continued in the tone Tiffany used to threaten my leader earlier. You have only 10 minutes to get to the airport, otherwise, I don't mind reshuffling the Jinghai business circle. On the other end of the phone, Jeff was silent for a moment, and then the sound of a cup smashing on the ground was heard. Miss Claire, please calm down first, I'll be right there. After a few exchanges, everyone present was jaw-dropped. Damn, what is this little girl's background? She even dares to disregard the founder of the Wang Group. This is Jinghai. Even if she has extraordinary abilities, a strong dragon cannot suppress a local snake. Exactly, if Victor really comes later, this matter probably won't be easy to resolve. As the current representative of the Wang family, Victor was even more furious. Claire, I don't care who your backer is, the Wang family will not let you go. I waved my hand at him indifferently. Mr. Victor, your words are exactly the opposite. Now it's not about whether your Wang family will let me go, but whether I can let you go. As Victor's #1 lackey, Tiffany immediately spoke up to refute. Little bitch, pushing me is one thing, but you dare to disrespect Victor. Today, I want to see who your backer really is. Faced with their threats, I just smiled slightly. Secretary Tiffany, you don't really think that I could make the plane turn back just by coincidence, do you? Haven't you learned what it means to judge the situation after being a secretary for so many years? As time passed by, more and more people gathered in the airport waiting hall. The onlookers unanimously took out their phones to take pictures, and even the airport staff were dazzled. My God, today we've really feasted our eyes, so many big shots have come. Exactly, any one of these bigwigs is a prominent figure in the capital. This trip was not in vain. I actually got to see so many tycoons that I can only see on TV. At this moment, a distinguished middle-aged man ran up to me, panting. Miss Claire. I'm so sorry to have frightened you. Seeing the scene before him, Jeff's face turned pale with fear. Miss Claire, I'm not late, am I? I looked down at the time and joked, if Uncle Jeff had been a step later, the richest man in Jinghai might have to change. Jeff was instantly scared into a cold sweat. With a slap, 5 bright red finger marks instantly appeared on Victor's face. Idiot, do you know what you've done? Hurry up and come over to apologize to Miss Claire. Victor was clearly stunned by this slap, looking at his father in confusion. Dad, are you senile? Why are you hitting me? It was clearly this bitch who disrespected you and looked down on our Wong family. Why are you helping an outsider to teach me a lesson? Seeing this scene, the anger in my heart subsided a little. But this alone was far from enough, the Jiang family still owed me an explanation. Jeff stared at his son with a face full of anger and backhanded him with another slap. You still have the nerve to ask me why? When Miss Claire does things, it's not your turn to point fingers. I have to say, the way this founder of the Wong Group handled things was much smarter than his son's. Jeff's words were powerful, but Victor's mind was a mess. He couldn't understand why his father would get so angry over an outsider. Unfortunately, only a very few people knew the reason behind this, and Jeff happened to be one of them. Uncle Jeff, this woman clearly looks down on your Wong family. Victor did this to save the family's face. Why are you so angry? Even if she has some background, this is still Jinghai. No matter what, we can't lose face. After hearing Secretary Tiffany's words, the surrounding onlookers nodded in agreement. But Jeff made a decision different from everyone else's. You are my son's private secretary, Tiffany, right? I now officially inform you that you are fired. Perhaps in the eyes of outsiders, Jeff, having been away from the business world for many years, couldn't see the current situation clearly. But only I knew that he was doing this to preserve the Wong family, making a last effort. I found an excellent observation spot to sit down and temporarily handed the stage to him. Jeff's performance did not disappoint me. In front of all the media reporters present, he pointed at his son and cursed him without caring about his image. Victor, as the founder of Gu Group, I now order you to apologize to Miss Claire immediately. If you still refuse to come to your senses and continue to pester, I'll pretend I don't have a son like you. After saying that, he straightened his back and stood in front of me. Jeff's words were like the last straw that broke the camel's back in everyone's hearts. On one side was the face of the Wong Group, and on the other was his own biological father. Victor fell silent. Just as the atmosphere at the scene suddenly quieted down, I slowly stood up. There's no need for an apology. My fate with your family has pretty much come to an end. As soon as these words were spoken, Jeff's body stiffened, and he looked at me cautiously. Miss Claire, this won't do. How about you name a price? I tugged at the corners of my mouth and smiled playfully. What does Jeff mean by asking me to name a price? Are you planning to settle this matter with money? To be honest, I've seen quite a few tough guys over the years, but I've never seen a rich second generation as lawless as your son. If it were an ordinary person today, Victor wouldn't even need to come in person, one phone call could settle it. Jeff trembled all over, not daring to look me in the eye. Miss Claire, what happened today was indeed our Wong family's fault. I'm willing to make compensation. As long as you are willing to speak, I will not bargain, I will do what I say. Victor, having grown up, had never seen his father so humble. To save face in front of everyone, he stepped forward once again. Dad, our Wong family is, after all, a prestigious family in Jinghai. How can you casually bow your head to others? I looked up and met his gaze, with a hint of playfulness in my tone. So, you still think that your Wong family can cover the sky with one hand in Jinghai, right? Although I have had little contact with the outside world over the years, I have still met quite a few big shots. But whether in terms of financial resources or influence, the Wong family doesn't rank among the people I know. Claire, let me tell you, I'm not as easy to fool as my dad. If you really have any skills, feel free to use them. I looked down at the time and sneered. Mr. Victor, confidence is a good thing, but blind confidence is your mistake. The Wong family that you often mention and are proud of is, in my opinion, not worth mentioning at all. As soon as these words were spoken, Jeff's face immediately changed. He was about to speak, but I immediately raised my hand to interrupt. Jeff, you should have heard what your son said just now, right? If I don't respond today, others will think that I, Claire, am easy to bully. As soon as I finished speaking, Victor's phone rang in his pocket. He glanced at me secretly, hesitated for a few seconds, and finally turned on the loudspeaker. What did you say? Say it again. Victor stared at me with wide eyes, his face full of disbelief. What? There's a problem with the company's finances? It's been indefinitely sealed? And it's an investigation team from the capital? After confirming with the legal department several times, Victor was completely stunned. Claire, don't tell me, you did all this? Victor's expression at this moment told me that even after hearing the news of the company's bankruptcy with his own ears, he still refused to believe in my abilities. However, this time, without even needing me to speak, Jeff, who had been holding back for a long time, couldn't help but angrily rebuke, Victor. How did I give birth to such an idiot like you? Do you think the trouble you've caused isn't big enough? Do you have to drag the entire Wang family down before you're satisfied? Jeff slapped his thigh hard, looking as if he hated iron for not becoming steel. My little ancestor, don't you still understand why I arranged this marriage? Usually, no matter how much you fool around, I can turn a blind eye, but today you just had to offend Miss Claire. Jeff became more emotional as he spoke, and in the end, he was so angry that he stamped his feet. It's not that I'm being modest, there wasn't a shred of exaggeration in what he said just now. Moreover, Victor's secretary even took my seat. After Jeff's earnest persuasion, Victor finally came to his senses. Dad, you mean, this woman's background is so high that, even our Wang family can't afford to offend her? At this moment, everyone's gaze towards me had undergone a drastic change, filled with fear. Especially Tiffany, hiding in the crowd, trembling, not daring to look me in the eye. Mr. Victor, you should be thankful that your secretary didn't do anything more out of line to me. Otherwise, it definitely wouldn't be as simple as the company going bankrupt now. Victor had a mournful face, his voice choked. Miss Claire, I know I was wrong. It was my fault for being blind and underestimating your strength. How about this, let's settle this marriage, and we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the certificate tomorrow. I curled my lips and gave him a meaningful look. Mr. Victor, whatever you say now is too late. You have already rejected me once before, have you forgotten? My words were like a bolt from the blue. Victor lowered his head in silence. Seeing the current situation of the Wang Group, Jeff, as the founder, could only sigh silently on the side. The scene was terrifyingly quiet, and everyone was curious about how I would deal with the Wang family next. After a long while, I turned my head to look at the dejected Jeff and sighed lightly. Jeff, for my father's sake, I can consider letting you off. But I have one condition. After hearing my words, Jeff's eyes suddenly lit up. Miss Claire, please tell me quickly, what condition? As long as it can preserve the Wang family, I'll do anything you ask. I raised my hand and pointed to Victor, who had tear stains on his face, and smiled mysteriously. I wonder if Jeff has heard a saying, the one who tied the bell should untie it. As soon as I finished speaking, Victor's expression immediately changed. Claire, what do you mean by that? Are you trying to make my dad disown me and kick me out of the house? I spread my hands and looked at him with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. Mr. Victor, weren't you begging me to let your Wang family off earlier? Now that I've given a solution, you're unhappy again. Being a good person is really hard. Halfway through my words, I raised my hand and pointed to Tiffany not far away. My seat was taken, someone has to take responsibility, right? With Secretary Tiffany's current level, taking the blame probably isn't enough, but you are just right. My last sentence was deliberately said for Jeff to hear. While stating my position, it was also to leave a way out for the Wang family. After all, the whole incident was Victor and his secretary's fault, and had nothing to do with others. After hesitating for a moment, Jeff nodded heavily at me. Miss Claire, we'll do as you say. Tomorrow, I will hold a press conference as the head of the Wang family. And announce to the public that I am severing the father-son relationship with Victor. Victor still wanted to make a last struggle, but no matter what he said now, it was powerless to turn the tide. The disaster started because of him, and it could only end with him. As the fuse of the entire incident, Tiffany was secretly sent to the capital overnight. Just based on the fact that she insulted the leader on the phone earlier, it's estimated that she won't be able to return to Jinghai for the rest of her life. One day a year later, when I came to Jinghai again on a business trip, the entire Wang group no longer existed.